Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Libri Labra book club. This month, we will be discussing Lifelike by Jay Kristoff. Give me 1 second. All right, sweet. So we will be giving our thoughts. We will be talking about spoilers things. So if you haven't actually read
major spoilers.
Major. So if you haven't read Lifelike and you don't want to be spoiled, then maybe don't watch this live show.
Just go read it and come back.
Yes.
Just come back and hang out with us then.
So lots of spoilers. That is what we picked. We'll start with our initial thoughts. And John, this was your selection for the month.
It was.
I
enjoyed it. I'm actually kind of turning into a bigger and bigger fan of Jay Kristoff as we read more and more of his works. I felt like it had a bunch. What'd you do?
I think I accidentally muted you.
Yeah, okay. Okay, the audio's out.
How long was that muted for? Hopefully not that long.
I was like, why is that red?
I am so sorry, John. Please
That's
try
okay.
again.
I was just thinking that it was a premise, but I felt like going into it, was a premise that was done before. Okay, all right, so it's Lifelike is going to be like an android that someone... I liked it a lot more than I thought going in.
So this was actually pitched as Romeo and Juliet meets Mad Max Fury Road.
I don't understand that, but no.
No? You don't think so?
No.
I can see how they get that, but I don't
know. Yeah, I guess. If everything's a wasteland.
Oh, look, they're driving armored vehicles through a desert. Hooray, we got Mad Max. Apocalyptic desert. That's the Mad Max. Oh, they're in love. Okay, well, that's Romeo and Juliet. All right.
Oh, my God.
Print it.
That's kind of a stretch, but yeah. Why is it struck through? There's strike through the text on the back of the book. I was going to read it.
Well, what does the strike through say?
A robot may not injure a human being. Oh, yes. I get it.
Now you get it?
Okay, I get it. A robot may not injure a human being or, through inaction, allow a human being to come to harm. Apparently, that's been edited.
Right.
Okay. All right. So major spoilers indeed. Major spoilers indeed. So going into it, the book is basically a girl finds a robot in a junk heap. Well, not really. That's how they started. Okay.
No, back up further.
Back up. So I'm not going to go through the whole story.
We're in this wasteland.
Yeah, everything is now a wasteland. The world building is kind of there's a decent amount of that going into it. What do you mean?
No, I went to type hi to Skeptical Bookworm and I wrote I. Hi, Crystal. How are you?
I'm not good at this.
It's okay. But you picked it because you are starting to have an affinity for Jay Kristoff and Jay Kristoff's work, and so that was why you picked one of the books.
Yes.
How would you say it differs from some of the other stuff that you've read by Jay Kristoff? This is the second
we have discussed this
read.
once before, but this is his introduction to YA? Is this his first YA book? Did he do YA in the past?
Well, Illuminate's YA, but
right.
You said that was probably different because he was writing with Amy.
Yes,
Kaufman.
This is his solo work, so it does seem a little different from his other solo works, but I would say it's still ranks up there with them.
Tom, what were your initial thoughts?
One of the things. Now, granted, I've only read only one of his other books,
right?
And that was
Nevernight.
Nevernight. Thank you for this book club. Actually, one of the things I couldn't help but think of during the first part of the book is, a movie agent is talking to an actor, and it's like, I've got good news and I've got bad news for you. Good news is that you're cast in the new Jay Kristoff film. Bad news is you play the protagonist's brother. Because they get her, in both of the, spoilers for, the other one. It starts off essentially the same way.
Oh yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
You're right.
Oh, good.
You're right.
Thank
You're
you.
right. Bad news is you're not gonna last long. I get it.
It did, but do you have any other initial thoughts with your read through?
Initial thoughts were, I think through most of the book I would have given it a 3, but that quickly increased to a 5 after like the 3/4 mark. So,
really?
spoiler alert.
Well, that's when everything like got like, well, again, like first half of the book was world building, story building.
Yeah.
The third quarter of the book was a little bit more story, a little bit more like, okay, we're learning a little bit more about what's going on. Fourth quarter of the book is a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah.
So, excuse my language.
So, we listened to the majority of this. I do have the hardcover, and there were parts where I was reading along, but I feel like the majority of it I was listening, and I agree with you that it was about a 3. But for me, I felt like it was a 3 the whole way through. So I'm at a point where I think that it needs a reread. So
she needs to actually read it. Listening to it doesn't work for her, and she listens to it for my sake. Thank you.
For your sake.
The narrator did a really, really good job, I thought.
So Crystal says it seems like Jay Kristoff books, at least for her, have a slower start, so you have to trust to get into it.
And like John says, he has to build the world again, and
Right. I feel like the second book of the series that we started will be a lot better off because he did all the world building in the first book.
Yeah.
So
we know what the rules of engagement are. Yeah, go ahead.
So I absolutely love Illuminate, which was something he wrote with Amy Kaufman. It was I would say it's up there as one of the best series I've read, right next to Harry Potter and Twilight. I've said that before. It's up there for me. Illuminate was amazing. And even though you don't hear the cursing because it's redacted in most of it, you still know it's happening. And I feel like that plus Jay Kristoff's new adult older works, they just feel more mature and older than this felt. Was there cursing in this? Because if there was, I don't remember hearing it.
He found other words to replace for the cursing. So he did that, I could say artistically, but it's like saying fudge instead of. So it's it doesn't have the same effect.
So it just felt a lot younger to me than what I'm used to Jay Kristoff. And not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but I just, it was like, this feels middle grade to me. Even though there's violence and other things happening, the writing just felt like middle grade writing. That was the point though, wasn't it? Well, middle grade and YA aren't necessarily the same thing.
This is true.
Middle grade is even younger, so I don't know. But I think I may reread it. Maybe when the next one comes out, I'll be like, let me reread Lifelike before the next one comes out. But it made me feel some weird things and made me think a lot about human-android relationships.
We started this discussion earlier.
Yeah, John was like, put this on hold
save this for the discussion.
Right.
So, in the beginning, Evie finds Ezekiel.
Apparently, he's a hot boy. Oh, this is also
beautiful.
This is exactly where I realized that Jay Kristoff likes things that are not really things. A boy that is not a boy, a dog that is not a dog, a cat that is not a cat from Nevernight, and then because there was a lot of that in here.
Okay, so Crystal says, I think he was trying to separate the time between now and the book, so language and culture is supposed to be different, but can come off as childlike. So, yeah.
Perfect.
And it was supposed to take place in the United States.
What's left of it?
Yeah.
Because apparently, what is it called? The Zona Bay now? It's
Zona Bay.
Because Arizona doesn't have a bay right now.
Weren't they dregs?
The dregs was what was broken off from the country after the Great Fault Line.
San Andreas Fault Line split.
Yep.
You got Superman that gives you an idea. No, sorry.
So, she finds Ezekiel, and then it starts to be revealed that they were very close, and they had this relationship, and I guess
And who's Ezekiel?
Ezekiel
was the lifelike she found that had landed in the junk pile that she was searching through.
And what's a
for more
lifelike?
parts.
You have to.
A lifelike is a lifelike android.
Okay,
it's a robot.
That's the world building that he has to go through.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, as far as what a lifelike is, it's a human-like android.
Correct.
But they were outlawed.
After they killed the family that created them.
That's when they were outlawed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, I get what you said. They went rampant. Is that
cute word to use for that? Yeah, I like it. They went rampant, but no. So what had happened was that they, because they had their own emotions, they actually were programmed with emotions, and they only had them for a short time. Basically, can you imagine a teenager going through teenager emotions at an infant stage,
realizing that their life is not their own?
Yes.
And their body is not their own.
So then somebody created a virus to allow them to overlook those 3 laws that are struck through on the back of the book.
Right.
So, they are not allowed to hurt humans. At least robots in general are not supposed to be able to hurt humans. They're programmed with an AI to know that they cannot hurt humans, and yet still have to listen to what they say. So when somebody wrote they actually had their own emotions and they had their own beliefs outside of that, but they were programmed to not do anything about it. So they had these conflicting emotions inside them about humanity and their so-called slavery.
Right.
So then somebody actually,
took the safety off.
The man who, yes, yeah, exactly. He just turned off the safety switch. He wrote a virus to help them, to allow them to hurt humans, and they're all like, "Thank you."
Okay, but what I want to focus right now is just on Evie. Or Ænema.
Spoilers? Oh, wait. Okay.
Remember the spoilers we were talking about? Yeah.
We're still at the beginning. Her name is Eve. Okay.
So Evie and Ezekiel, it was either in a retelling or something, but she learns that they had an emotional relationship. They cared about each other. And weren't they in bed snuggling or kissing or doing something? They were doing something, right? They were being physical.
They did something.
Yeah, okay.
Eventually.
So reading that automatically just made me feel like, wait a minute, I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know how to feel about the idea of a human falling in love with an android and doing physical things. Mm-hmm. I was thinking a lot about it. And then that started triggering other things watching Ex Machina and also Westworld.
Yep.
I was thinking of Westworld, particularly when a certain character comes in, the bounty hunter.
So I
like that guy. Yes.
So I was just trying, in the book, I just couldn't. I couldn't make peace with this happening. I was just like, ew, no, that's so gross. It's fake, and they're not real, and they're mechanical. How would you not have shame or feel something? And then that's when I started to think about Westworld, and I was like, but if they're so
real,
right,
so real that they're believably human, then
if you can't tell the difference, then
yeah.
But
then is there a difference?
Right. And I guess I just had so many questions related to that. Would you knowingly, if it was believable? I don't know.
If there's enough trickery involved, maybe. But see, I don't know. I feel like looking at it from I told you this earlier that I feel like men have a more, actually there is an industry for this already.
Right.
And they're making these sex robots, and there's thousands of them for men, but only 1 or 2 for women.
Do you think?
Because I think women are more empathetic, and they actually want things to be real. Even between in a real relationship with a real man, if it's a fake, if they don't feel that the man is really into it, they're all like, nah.
So do you think that's just more a physical versus emotional kind of thing?
Absolutely.
That's. Well, I mean, it sounds
that's kind of upsetting.
It sounds like Evie and Ezekiel had an emotional relationship.
They did.
Though. I don't know. It was just it made me uncomfortable. So I was like, wait, I have to process this. I have to process
you have at least 2 other books to figure this out.
Yeah.
So don't worry. But.
So who would
a vibrator with emotions?
I don't even know.
But then the question becomes, what if the vibrator doesn't want to be a vibrator? No, it's a serious question.
No, it's sentient. So I mean, it's not
sentient. Okay, sentient vibrator. Okay, but you get the point.
Yeah, let's go backwards. Let's back out of that one.
Or the thing I was thinking about just now is Wreck-It Ralph. I haven't seen the movie, but I understand that that's the point of the movie. He's made for one purpose, but he said, "Hey, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to do something else."
Right. He's the bad guy, but he doesn't want to be the bad guy.
Right.
I mean, like, I think humans should take more time to figure out how to deal with other humans than trying to,
right?
like,
before we start replacing
making
them.
robots that like we can't deal with either. So Crystal says, it took me a long time to get used to that too. It was very weird in the beginning for me, and then I spent most of the book going back and forth.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree with Lemon. I agree with Anna. Wait a minute. Because Lemon was trying the whole time. She's like, she was making passes at it all over the place.
I don't know.
But does it? There's one point in the book where she's like, "Well, does it actually work?" And she actually started trying to look and.
Oh,
and
I remember that. I remember that was in the beginning.
Yeah,
she was like, "How lifelike is it?"
Yeah.
So, who would you say like your favorite character?
Lemon Fresh.
Lemon.
Yeah.
She's clearly written that way.
Yeah.
And
anyway.
Lemon. Crystal says Lemon.
She's the one we're supposed to like.
She's got that spunk, and she's got the energy that she's, and I don't know. She actually turns out to be part of the reason why the book is the way it is. Like she's a main drive, and she's going to be more important later, as the Kraken had said. She is important. Yes. Everybody else was not.
I don't know. I assume this is going to be a trilogy and not a duology. I don't remember hearing that this is a duology. Crystal, if you know, drop it in the chat. So I don't want to jump to the end or anything, but how did you did it remind you of anything else as you were reading it? You know, outside of Romeo and Juliet and Max Fury Road?
It didn't remind me of either one of those. So,
okay.
I mean, I thought about Ex Machina because of the whole, I built an android that's really like robot has.
I might
emotions.
have to rewatch that.
I really didn't think about Westworld until like Tom said. It was later on when they find out that
Preacher showed up. Yeah,
the bounty hunter was also a cyborg. So, I keep thinking about that joke I made last discussion, that cyborgs, robots, everything is metal.
I feel like everything's metal in life. Like I feel like I can't even follow my thought process through on living with androids in that fashion, because it gives me anxiety right away. Like I can't even.
But what if you didn't know that there's an android? Like the whole time you've just been living thinking, not even caring that it's actually a robot.
I mean, I probably wouldn't, because I have empathy for like almost everybody. So
I think
I would just never want to find out. I would probably likely be one of the people that would fall in love with them, because I just wouldn't.
They're superior to humans.
So your reaction wouldn't be, "Why didn't you tell me sooner?"
No, because that would obviously.
The robot wouldn't want it to matter, but that's the whole point.
Yes.
That is the whole point, is that it shouldn't matter. Here's
why it makes me feel so uncomfortable, because every time I think about Ex Machina, right, the reason that one... Did you see it, Tom?
I have not, no.
Oh, okay. Damn
Do it. Fix it.
No. All right,
fix that. You fix that.
Hold on. Crystal says, I haven't heard either way, but I can see it as a trilogy. I think it's his main style. It brings things like consent into mind. Like, he didn't have that virus when they had their first relationship, so how much did he really want that? Right. If they were programmed to do what they're told, then that does.
Or if they have specific things programmed into them, like the ability to love.
Keep in mind, as I understand it, the Libertas virus only took out the 3 laws of robotics. It left everything else intact.
Right.
So the only thing they couldn't do was kill humans or cause them to be killed by inaction.
Okay.
See what I mean?
And then the third rule was just like...
You can't take your own life either.
Was that the third rule?
Oh, wait, no.
The third rule was like, you can't do this
the robot has to protect itself unless protecting itself contravenes the first 2 laws.
Right.
Thank you, Isaac Asimov, for that, by the way. Okay, he came up with the 3 laws of robotics.
Really?
Yeah.
So what? How do you feel about the idea that these robots were created in the likeness of his children?
You got to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's that was part of what it was, is like they when they built the lifelikes, they wanted them to actually have a personality to begin with, and you have to get the personalities from somewhere. And what better than his? It's his children. They're more of his children.
Crystal said God complex 101.
Yep. It's exactly. Well, I mean, duh. It's
well, since you brought up God, and her name is initially Eve, what does that say about?
I mean, they all had religious names. Ezekiel, Gabriel.
Yeah.
Hope, faith.
Yeah.
Like they all had like these.
Well, when you actually learn that Eve isn't really Anna, that Eve is supposed to be the first of her kind, and she was actually she was tricked into believing that.
Big spoiler coming up.
Yeah.
Crystal said Kristoff was trying to play off his God complex.
Oh yeah, what? Sure.
Well, I think he was trying to make a reference to Paradise Lost, because he even quotes it. The androids say it's better to rule in hell than serve in heaven.
Mm-hmm. They say that.
They are all fallen angels.
Trying to think of what my original question was. What was I just saying? The religious. But yeah, you said he named her Eve.
Eve, yeah.
Now, did he actually name her that, or because that was Silas after Anna was shot, right?
No, she had to. Again, huge spoilers into the book. Eve was created only after the incident with the bombing.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because the real Anna
was in a coma.
Or was in a coma. So
Right.
then they created this one to replace her. So that's how she got named. So it was named by Nicholas.
I forgot about all that. That's insane.
But when you think about like the stories about Eve and her being the one that like took the fruit off the tree first and offered it to Adam.
But consider what the fruit is, though. The fruit of knowledge.
Right, the fruit of knowledge.
Which Eve certainly gets toward the end of the book.
Well, towards the end of the book, but they kept her in the dark for
right,
for
that's
a while.
The point. That's the point. It's like it's your how do I put this? Paradise of ignorance, let's say.
Right.
They kept her in the dark so she'd be docile and she would act out the way they wanted her to act out.
Right.
And Lucifer would not like that either. Going back to Paradise Lost.
And it was Faith that smacked her in her memory chip to have all that start, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was faith and hope, and they were mentioned, at different times, and I don't think they were necessarily together much.
But you confused them, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
I
feel like I
noticed
them a lot.
that there was a few times where I'm like, wait, there's nothing about faith right now. This is hope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So was there like one was good, one was bad, or they were?
Faith was originally Anna's best friend. Like as is it 5 or 6 got I think it was 5. As the 5 actually got acclimated with the family, Faith was the one that ended up being like best friends with Anna.
She was the one who was Anna. I'm sorry, Faith was modeled on Anna, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. They were their personalities were the same, so they ended up being buddy.
Faith and Evie were both modeled after Anna?
Yes.
Okay.
But one was taking a little bit of her personality. One was a direct duplicate.
Carbon copy, right.
Jeez. Okay, so Crystal asks, well, wasn't she technically the first to have the virus, the knowledge, before the other lifelikes?
Yes. But I think no. You're talking about Eve, right?
Because how does that work?
Well, she was created after the explosion, after everything happened. The virus wasn't actually implemented to the Five until when Nick decided he was going to take over the company when they tried to push him out. Yes.
Right.
But again, like Anna was created, or Eve was created after the explosion that killed Grace.
Okay.
Yes.
And now Grace was somebody that Gabriel was in love with?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's why Gabriel was on his megalomaniac mission.
Megalomaniac mission.
Because he wanted to recreate Grace. He wanted her back.
Right.
But see, this is what interesting to me is that if he was able to recreate her from whatever they had to begin with, she wouldn't have the same memories and probably wouldn't have been in love with Gabriel. So I'm wondering if this is where some of this is going in the second book, and considering now we know that I'm getting too far ahead.
So Krista says she read it around release, so she's a little foggy on the details. But are you saying that he, coming from like a mechanical perspective, he wouldn't understand the repercussions of that? He wouldn't understand that creating her again wouldn't actually
Wouldn't
make her
mean
the same?
correct that she'll be the exact same Grace. Oh, so much can be done with this. It's insane.
What were your thoughts on Ezekiel? Because he was like the whole thing with the coin slot and him being ostracized by the others because they saw him.
Right, because he, even though he was given the ability to kill other humans, he was like, this is still wrong.
Right. So, what were your thoughts on him as a character? What do you think?
Chaotic good?
What does that mean to you? That I guess he could kill, but he still didn't. Like, is he the only one that really has choice at that point?
No, they all have their choices. But some of them just made wrong choices. It really depends on whose side you're on, though. What's wrong to you and what's wrong to them. But I think that Ezekiel is like, I don't know, he's made to be more of the protagonist, which is probably my guess at who's going to be the center of the story for the next book.
You think so?
Why not? Are we going to follow Anna now that she's evil? Or Eve?
I would hope so.
No,
that was brilliant. And she's not really evil per se.
Well, now she's actually got her own choices.
Yeah. But that's the thing, though. When one of Gabriel starts saying, "I am as I was made," or "as he made me," but then, if you're all about having the freedom of choice, how do you balance those two things out? When you do something, how much is it of being what you are, what you were made, as opposed to taking that choice yourself?
I was really impressed with how that was actually played out, and how the matter of, even though you're given the choice, you're still trying to blame other people for your actions. Mm-hmm. That's how human is that?
I was gonna say, how human is that? Like humanity.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not taking the blame for this. He made me like this. Mm-hmm. No, it's still your choice now, bastard.
Well, that and obviously they're modeled on humans, but humans are obviously crappy models to begin with.
For real.
Yeah, we make mistakes. Ugh.
So,
have you ever watched The Devil's Advocate? Because I feel like that was the first.
Sounds familiar.
It was with Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino. I watched it at a very young age, and that was the first time that idea, that concept came up of like, did God give us free will, or is everything predetermined?
Right.
Like, and so I remember being mind blown when I watched that as a kid. Like, what? Yeah. Crystal said, would you use an Evie as a comparison to what old Grace and a reconstructed Grace? Evie clearly rejected Anne when she learned the truth. Yeah, she did. She didn't want to.
Oh, that's absolutely what I'm thinking. Is because whether or not it's still not the same person, and you still have, like, even though their experience is going to be completely different. So even I don't know how to explain this further, but yes, Yes, absolutely. I would think that there would be a completely big difference between the two, and especially that now you're gonna have the difference between Anna waking up and then Lemon Fresh being all like, "Hey," and she's had absolutely no idea who the hell Lemon Fresh is.
Right.
But Lemon has had these experiences with a like a duplicate of Anna, and is gonna have the same reaction that all the robots got when they got to Eve. And they're like, "Hey, Anna," and she's like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about the idea that, I know, because I think when we think of like robots and androids, we're like, oh, well, they don't have humanity. They don't have that thing that all humans have, or whatever it is. What if it's not necessarily like humanity or empathy or emotion? What if it's just ego?
I mean,
because I mean, I feel like that would be the thing that would make you want to be like, no, I'm different. I'm different than that other person.
Right.
So I need to be my own thing. I need to have my own stuff.
So how do you program an ego? But apparently that's what's involved here. That's the reason why Gabriel is, I am his he made me, because he doesn't want to hurt his ego by saying that it's his choice to be that asshole.
Right. Not that he wasn't provoked, because he was, but
right.
You know, because one of them, you know, again, where I think it was one of them, I think it was Gabriel though, that said that, he called us all of us as children, but when it came down to it, he put us in harm's way and not you.
Right. Yeah, but you could take it. If you could regenerate from a bullet wound. No,
but I'm saying that's what his thinking is.
Right. Right. You guys were still more important than us.
Yes.
Right.
Crystal says, well, the androids have ego, in my opinion. Gabriel was has a huge ego problem, along with just being batshit crazy. Honestly, that's how I define people that are just so full of hate. Like, I can't process that.
Right,
just
their
that
ego's in the way.
need to destroy, to break things, to like, I understand anger, but that watch the whole world burn thing is just like, to me, that's just like, yep, batshit crazy. I don't know.
Word. Megalomaniac is a perfect word. Like, wanting to control so much, wanted to be like power and destruction. It's like, I don't know. It's learning that killing an ant, you're like, oh, I can do that?
What? Do you remember ever watching? I have like all these references that keep coming to me. I think it was in like Resident Evil. Shit, which one was it? Maybe it was Code Veronica.
We'll get to the point. Maybe I tell you.
There's a clip where there's like two twins and they're looking at dragonflies and then they just start pulling the wings off of them.
Oh yeah, I don't know which one. I do remember that though.
That was really all I was going to say about that. But okay, so you're saying that the virus negated the 3 fundamental rules.
Correct.
And they still have choice to go against those rules.
Right.
Were they not created with some kind of empathy? Like, I mean, as a human, I would think you make bad decisions. You still feel the weight of that. You feel the consequence, the stuff that happens after you make bad decisions. Like, just because he can negate those 3 rules, like, why does that mean he doesn't feel anything else?
Well, again, they're all, not only does that actually tell us about what each of his children were about, like, they are all killed, so they didn't grow up to be those people, but if all those robots were modeled after their children, then are you saying that whoever Gabe was modeled after was, like, I mean, Alex, we don't know who was who. It does actually say who was who, but I don't remember who. I don't remember the strings, but I know Alex was building other robots as like gifts to other people. Like, he was actually building robot butterflies and things. And Alex was a little bit more. I think they said that he was a little bit more empathetic, but I don't remember the rest of the group. Alex is the only one they like specifically like told more about. But I was saying that even though they were created in in other images and other personalities from his children, I really think they ended up with their own ego and personality to be like after that.
It like from their own
experiences from the time they were born
else, yeah.
and how they dealt with their emotions, which they didn't know how to. So because they were still infants dealing with teenage emotions. I brought that up earlier. Like they only had a certain amount of time as existing with those emotions, and they haven't learned how to deal with them.
Right, that's what she was saying. She said it's almost like a deadly version of a rebellious teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And she says, I think you have to take into account their personal experiences, and maybe that's something Kristoff was trying to play off. And so
exactly. Perfect.
But there was something that I was leading to. Oh, so I don't think I got a good enough picture of, okay, you have all these robots that were created in his children's likeness, and then you had his children. So before the virus, before the massacre or whatever, they were just existing all in the same place, and, being friends, hanging out. Yeah. Like, I have trouble processing that. I can't imagine having a robot
brother
that was like me, that I was like engaging with and hanging. That's just weird. I don't know.
You wouldn't know. You don't know how to experience
it. You wouldn't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying the 5 kids thought they actually had like 9 siblings?
Yes.
Desirai doesn't buy.
This is again. They grew up with their current siblings to a point, and then all of a sudden they had 5 more robots, like
siblings. That's
full-grown adult siblings that acted like babies for a little time.
I can't even imagine Nicholas's just life creating something that you think is going to go out into the world and do a lot of positive stuff, and then they just kill all the kids.
His Nick's ego got in the way because they actually the board that was on that company was like, hey, these things are becoming an issue. We need to dial it back, turn them off, and then let's get into the programming. And he was like, you're not turning my kids off. And then he went crazy and then turned his kids on. He had Gabriel kill everybody.
No, but that was only after they attacked him. That was after the bombing.
Yeah.
Nobody hurts my kids.
Nobody ever got to the bottom of who did the bombing, though, right?
It was implied that the CFO did, but
that it was somebody in the board.
Yeah,
right.
The board did, yeah.
So it was an attempt to eradicate the problem at its core.
Yeah, so he took the safety out and say, you go kill those humans over there. Okay, we did that. Come back, say, well, I'm not sure I'm that fond of you either, you know.
Right. He actually came back with the repercussions. He actually came back going, you made me kill these people. Holy shit. Who the hell are you? And then he's like, I don't want to be that. And then he ended up killing, and it just became like a thing. Now he's a killer. He made me like this. So that was working up after the fact that he was like, I didn't want to do that thing that you made me do. And then, now I'm continuing to do this thing. You made me do these things. So he's like all these bad things that he keeps doing. He's still putting it on like Nick, but even though Nick's dead, Nick's not making him do these things anymore. Oh, the ego is such a horrible thing. Robots do not need egos. Do you hear this? You hear this, scientists? What?
Here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, humans need to put their ego in check as well.
Yes. Worry about your own first before you put it in a robot.
Oh my gosh.
Skynet, here we come.
This also reminds me of like the Interview with the Vampire and them turning Claudia into a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she is just too young to process
there's like this whole unwritten rule with vampires. You don't make vampire children. You don't make robot children either. Let's not do that.
Oh man. So do you want to make any predictions in regards to where you think the story might be going?
But yeah. because I really think that we're going to end up following Ezekiel and his quest to find the true Anna, and then Evie's going to get in the way.
So you're the only other. Tom has not read the Lunar Chronicles. Crystal, if you have read the Lunar Chronicles,
oh God,
tell me if there was any kind of resemblance there to you. There's even a chapter named Cinder, and I understand that Cinder is a word with a meaning that can be used in any other way.
Well, there was two references too that were in that chapter that had nothing to do with the Lunar Chronicles. Just saying.
But I don't know. I couldn't. When I started reading Lifelike, I just
especially it was because very close to Cinder.
So the Lunar Chronicles is kind of like a fairy tale retelling, and the first one is called Cinder, and it follows Cinderella, but Cinderella is a cyborg mechanic.
Yep.
And it kind of takes place in the future, and I don't know, Lifelike just reminded. There's pieces of it that reminded me a lot of that.
Very much so.
So I don't know if I was just being weird or if he was paying homage to Marissa Meyer, or maybe just random resemblances, I guess.
Now, I think about this a little too often, but I wonder like how many stories that are coming up that people think they're original, but that happen at the same time or somewhere else that has already happened. Like there's so much that can be done and said. It's kind of hard not to be original anymore.
Not to be completely original.
Right.
I get that. I mean, but authors are friends with other authors, and sometimes they do put things in there as a like, hey, I see you.
Right.
So
I can see Jay Kristoff doing that a lot.
I know he puts
there was
a lot of
references to everything in his.
There's one that nobody's mentioned yet, which I'm kind of surprised about.
Is it the Tool reference?
No.
Oh.
Because when I heard their last name, their actual last name, it's like that's important somehow, but I don't quite know how. And then it clicked when they said her full first name.
Say that. Isn't it based on like a Russian family or something?
It is.
I mean, I don't know enough about it, so you would have to educate me.
Please elaborate, Tom.
Well, I don't want to be that guy, but
that's fine. I like having that guy to give us like
because it was like when I saw the name Monroe, it's like that's important, but I don't know what the reference is. And then they finally said her full name because Anna is like a really unusual name, and it's Anastasia. And then it clicked. It's like Anastasia Romanov, Nicholas Romanov of the October Revolution, who he and his family were killed by the Bolsheviks.
Okay.
Jesus, that's a big reference.
Yes, and he had 5 kids, 4 daughters, 1 son. Son was the youngest.
Kudos. Good job.
Yeah, Crystal said. She said she has Cinder, hasn't started it yet, and then that Lainey Taylor got a reference in the Illuminati files, and then she mentioned Anastasia. So I guess I don't know enough of that story. There's also another book that I believe that was kind of a retelling of that just came out called Heart of Iron.
Yeah, the rumor is that she actually escaped the execution. So keep that in mind. Kind of like what you did.
Right.
Holy crap.
And that puts, Gabe and their kind, that's what they saw their lot in life. They were basically serfs who were at the bidding of humans, essentially.
We're gonna have to do a little bit of research on that to kind of have it melt together a little bit better in my mind.
Yeah.
And I hope Jay watches this.
Well, yeah, it was like, because when he said Nicholas, it's like Nicholas. It's like, holy shit, that's Nikolai. Sorry, the Russians. All right.
It's Jesus, Tom.
So,
good.
It was bothering me throughout the book. Whenever you say Monroe, was like, I know that's important, but I don't know. So, anyway.
And it's basically just take this name and just go like this with it.
Yeah, it's an anagram of Romanov. It's like, I know it's significant, but... So I was glad when I finally figured it out. Okay, nobody said it so far. The 2 most awesome moments in the book for me were for a character I didn't like in the first part, and that was Cricket.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Remember?
I was going to mention Cricket too, but go ahead.
Because remember when Silas, he's tinkering with Quixote, and then he puts Cricket's brain in it, it's like, holy shit, this is going to be amazing. And, and how he gives, because I hated Faith from the start. It's like, when he gives her the beat down at the end, it's like, don't Calm.
It was like a Hulk moment with
Yeah.
with Tom.
I was like, that was brilliant. That was also, like,
I was
emotionally
happy about
satisfying.
that too.
Yeah.
And he was the idea that when he woke up and he was like, "What? Whoa!"
Okay, so Crystal says, if you look at Nevernight and Lifelike, they both have heavy references to history and other works. And she says, I haven't read his first series, but if I get to it, I wonder if I'll find some more there. Probably.
What was his first series? Is that Illuminate Files?
Wasn't it like, was it about samurai or something?
Oh, he actually has his own like standalone series.
Yeah, there's like a trilogy of books out. I can't remember.
Illuminate was our first foray into Jay Kristoff's head.
But I do like characters who make references like that, because I know he had like some Princess Bride references in the other one and a few other things.
She said it's called Lotus Wars.
Yeah, the Lotus Wars.
Are they samurai? Do they have like...
I'm curious now.
Are they ninjas or something? I'm picturing the covers and I remember swords and like...
Katanas?
Yes, something.
No, well, swords is very generic.
Yeah.
To me.
I mean... So you said there were two things that you hit that weren't mentioned
yet. Cricket's brain putting into Quixote, and then the beatdown he delivers on Faith. Those are like the two. Oh my God, yeah.
All right.
Go
Cricket.
Yeah, go Cricket. Yeah. And for that to happen for up till then minor character was really, really well done.
Well, I knew that like there was some. As soon as she mentions that Cricket wanted to be one of the arena fighters, yeah, I was like, something's gonna happen later with Cricket, and he's gonna get his moment. And when that happened, I did have a little moment just for Cricket.
So she says it's Japanese steampunk.
Interesting.
Okay. That does sound interesting. But I think Cricket was part of the reason why I related it to the Lunar Chronicles, because Cricket reminded me of Aiko.
Yep.
So
that would be cool if he he's created different worlds so far, but that would be cool if he had one character do a cameo in another set of his books. And, hey, wasn't that
that'd be great. That'd be great to actually like have something happen, some big freaking massive thing going on, and then like Mia Corveri comes along and murders somebody, and then disappears. Yeah. It's just
something like that. Or she's walking through like one of the Roman temples, and one of them is Quixote, like in the background, that sort of thing. Yeah.
She said Cricket is like Jiminy Cricket and Pinocchio. They make Pinocchio references in there, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Let your conscience be your guide.
Jiminy Cricket. He's a dancing. No, that was a dancing frog. Never mind. He was a dancing cricket, wasn't he?
What?
Nothing. Nothing. My brain is spazzing out for a second.
So, what do you guys think about Lemon Fresh being the one that actually melted the fritzed?
That was good. That was well done.
Yeah.
That was another really good moment.
I think that's one of the moments that I didn't fully process.
Yeah, it's like, wait, what's just happened here?
Well, I like the fact that he made it completely seem like that. She had absolutely zero control in her power, and can only make it happen at certain points.
Right.
And really, unless you are really paying attention as a reader, you can tell that it only happens when Lemon is around, and then you're just like, oh, what? So he did a really good job of making like misdirection is used plenty of times, and actually all of his work really.
I am sad that I was not able to absorb this as the masterpiece that you guys have experienced. So I'm definitely gonna help it, because I know I was just like, what this is Jay Kristoff?
When you decide to reread it, when you open the book, let me know, and then I'll listen to it again with you if you want to. I mean, I'm not saying you have to, but saying, like, if you're listening to it while you're reading it and you think you can actually absorb it better, I would like to, just because I know that I pick up more things. Mm-hmm. Like listening to The Gunslinger a second time, I was like, oh, my mind was blown again off of things that I missed, like little things that I missed throughout it.
What would you, maybe you guys know, because usually the cover has a tie-in to the story. What does this cover, what's the relation? Like, what are we looking at there? Because I see that and I think of bees and a honeycomb. And so...
I think the author may have to tell us that.
I mean, you think maybe we just don't know what that is, the tie-in is yet? I don't know.
It's some sort of mesh, and it actually looks like a nebula behind it, like stars. But that could be...
Is that like a reference
1,000
to
different things.
Creation?
Possibly. Very much possibly.
I don't know. I'm really curious because I know for me, I love that point in the story when I'm like, that's what the cover means.
Well, I just want to point out that I like that he chose, because I was curious about this earlier when she was messing with the title of this right here, and she was like, if she put like instead of lifelike. So, but I was wondering why he chose to put the 1 and the 3 in like and not in life.
Because you have human and robot.
I'll venture a guess.
Go ahead.
Because the first one is the actual word, and the other one fulfills the same purpose as the word, but it's different.
Yeah, I exactly, and because I was wondering, I was like, what would be the difference with this?
This human
actually had to have
Android.
Its own little planning to it on just the title, and I love that about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Crystal said the physical read was better. I need to see the map and going back and forth throughout the story. And she also says that she knew something wasn't adding up, but it still surprised her about Lemon Fresh. And then as far as the cover goes, she said the hive of the bio company.
Yeah.
The one after Lemon Fresh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the city hive. Is that Daedalus? Or is
Daedalus, yeah. And the ones that actually built the bio...
Biomass is the other one.
Oh, okay. Oh, so there was 3 companies.
3, yes.
That's right.
3?
Now there's 2.
There were 3 companies.
Or 2?
Gnosis was the one that Nicholas owned.
They made the lifelikes. Biomass made they were actually they were growing their own things, like cloning versus making them out of metal and wire.
Organic.
Yeah. And then the company that the Merc is working for, right?
Daedalus.
What?
Daedalus, the one with the sun with the wings on it.
But that's who sent the cyborg preacher, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Any attachment to the dog?
Who?
The dog. What was his name?
Blitzhund.
Yeah.
That wasn't his name.
No.
He is a Blitzhund.
I'm just saying, did you have any attachment?
Of course, it's a dog. It's got a dog brain. It even checks its like metal legs to see if they were still attached. Like it's got a brain, man. I was actually quite upset that the preacher made his dog blow up just to melt Faith. Or was that Hope? That was Hope.
Oh, that was Hope.
That was Hope.
Okay,
the money ran out on charity.
Oh, she said one tried to improve actual life, one tried to improve life with synthetics, and one was maybe more about war. Maybe.
We haven't figured out what the third one is really all about yet.
She has the question marks.
Yeah. So there's more to that story.
I think maybe we can get
Kaiser.
Wait a minute. Yes, it is Kaiser. Yeah. Wait, okay. Wasn't one of the companies more about like it thought machines were unholy? They were completely
That's the Brotherhood.
Against. Yeah. Oh, that was the Brotherhood. Okay.
Yeah, that was the Brotherhood.
But I wasn't that company like tied to that somehow. I guess we'll figure that out later. But I mean, because even the preacher was like, even though he had cybernetic enhancements, he was like, you aren't supposed to be here. You know, this is, I forget the exact words he was using, but he actually said something specifically about that. He was like,
yeah, but in a sense, he was right. She's supposed to be Anna, but she's not.
Mm.
So everybody's under the impression that she's Anna, but he apparently knows or knew that she maybe she
Did he
wasn't.
actually call them snowflakes?
Yes.
He fucking
Couldn't
called
miss
them
that. Yeah.
Are you just not? I mean, I didn't catch that, but
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of Cleaton syndrome, if you ask me. If you understand what I mean.
Nah, a little bit. This freaking guy. That's the reason why I kind of had that reaction just now. He freaking called them snowflakes.
Yeah.
She says, I think the bio company hates Lifeliks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they are organic and it's not really specified what the Lifeliks are made of, just that they aren't human. No flesh.
I just like the fact that every little scene, every little piece of this had meaning somewhere else in the book. Mm-hmm. Like the when they were in the Kraken and the workers inside the Kraken were like, okay, you're special. These other ones are just trash. Mm-hmm. They're just trash. They're getting sent with the refuse. And she's like, no.
So maybe Lemon has a bit of her story where she's like, even though she doesn't know.
There's a lot more to her story. Just because we figure out that she was the one that's making the bots fritz.
Yep.
But you think the second book is going to follow Ezekiel and not?
Well,
not
now
Evie,
I mean, there's
Lemon Fresh.
There's a lot more to come out of this. So it might be Lemon Fresh trying to save her friend that doesn't know she's a friend. The friend that's not a friend. Sorry, Jay, but I like that. I do like the fact that that's an infinite. I don't know. It's just, but I think it's funny, and I'm not really. I am picking on you, but I'm not really picking.
Okay, no. So, can you help me understand the Tool reference in the beginning? Do you think that has anything to do with the story, or do you think maybe
what Tool reference?
Do you listen to Tool, Tom?
No, clearly not.
Ænema.
Okay.
Ænema.
It's not in the story. Hold on.
The song itself is literally about the San Andreas Fault breaking and California becoming a yes. Learn to swim.
In the beginning of the book,
okay.
it says, "I have a suggestion to keep you all occupied. Learn to swim. Learn to swim. Learn to swim." And it's quoted to the lead singer of Tool. Mm-hmm. But what's the name of the song?
Ænema.
Ænema. So the Tool Ænema song.
Which also has another meaning. What is an Ænema and an Ænema? What's an Ænema?
Well, an Ænema, it's like, doesn't it help you poop?
A cleanse of the body.
Okay.
An Ænema
is life.
So a cleansing. It's basically supposed to be a cleansing of the soul. So the fact that these machines now have a soul, and now they got some work to do.
Yeah, they cleaned off a lot of the humans. Now they're going to go back and clean up the rest. You're going to have a human enema in here.
I really think that because of his...
I mean, it could be... Go ahead.
That guy is totally metal. That's all I'm saying.
He's so metal. Jay Kristoff's so metal. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, it could just be something as simple as him listening to the song while he was writing. It could be. I feel like there's a lot of times.
There's definitely some influence in this book.
I feel like there's a lot of times where like authors just write stuff and like readers are like, "Oh my god, it means this," and the author's like, "Oh, sure it does."
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Totally meant that from this.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like Freud said. Sometimes the cigars
they put strings together that weren't there before. They're like, "Sure, that works."
Yeah.
Like all these,
we'll go with it.
Weird theories that come out of Disney movies overlapping and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Jay mentioned he's the type to start writing and change twists and then going back and building meaning and foreshadow. When he said that, he was talking about this book. That's interesting. So
writing it, he was like, no, let's change this. Oh, this works together.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's not like a front to back and then to make re-edits. It's
Crystal, do you listen to Tool? Do you know the song? Have you heard it?
I think you should play it.
No, I don't think I can play it right now, but I will. It would probably
have
my
YouTube
stream or something.
Video.
Oh, yeah.
I'll get flagged.
That's right.
But I can link to it. I can link to it.
You should link to it in the chat or in the description, just in case.
She was like, yes. I've seen Tool in concert.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I love Tool. Like Tool and A Perfect Circle are kind of like two of my favorite bands, and I know they're all like because of Maynard.
I remember just opening the book and reading that, and it made my heart glow. It's like
Actually, the whole arc of the story reminded me a lot of, if you played World of Warcraft, the Arc of Arthas.
I have not played World of
No?
Warcraft.
Oh, okay. Spoilers for those who, in 20 years that's been out, have not heard World of Warcraft. One of the expansions that they had was the Lich King.
The Lich, okay.
Yeah, and basically Warcraft 3 was about how he became the Lich King.
Right.
Lich King. So, except in his case, it's like, they were under demonic invasion, and then he was pressed to, we need the super weapon, and of course it was Frostborn. That's the one that actually cursed him, and that sort of thing. But it's just like, here it was just the same kind of idea. It's like, you're forced by your circumstances to react in a certain way and then become a certain person.
Right.
So.
Well, I think we can probably do final thoughts and ratings. And then maybe say on a scale of 1 to 10 how eager you are to read the next one.
Well, I might be a little biased now, but I'm saying that I'm going to give this a 5.
Okay.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was a 5 before I talked to Tom. And every time we talked to Tom, like,
was it a 5 or was it a 4 before you
it was a 5
oh, okay, it was
before
a 5.
I talked. And now it's like, I would say if they could add another star, I would. But I'd say a good 9, 8 or 9 to read the next one.
Would you say
I'm also at a 9 or 10. Actually, no, I'm at a 10 to start reading freaking God's Grave.
Okay, I was going to ask you that next. I was going to say which one never knew God's Grave.
Waiting.
How about you, Tom?
Before I answer that, I think, Desiree, you have to divulge the source of that book that you got.
Uh-oh. What?
What book?
Kristoff. I saw a video where you said that you were going to divulge the source of all of your books, the one shelving video that you had.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So I purchased this a long time ago, and I bought it off of Amazon, and it was a pre-order. So as soon as I heard it was coming out, like if you watch my top 10 books I'm looking forward to in 2018, this was number 10. And so as soon as I found out about it, I pre-ordered it and it came straight to me.
Gotcha.
So.
One down.
Okay.
300 to
go. Like I said, I enjoyed, as much as I enjoyed God's Grave, I didn't have the visceral emotional reaction I had to this one, obviously. So to me, that's the difference between the 4 and the 5.
Okay.
So
I think, because for me it tends to be like a very gut reaction. I feel like the minute I close the book, I say, did I like it? I have a thought in my head. It's either that was okay, I liked it, or I loved it. And then 5 is just like, oh my God, I have to tell everybody to read this.
Right.
And I feel like I was going to give it a 3, but it doesn't feel authentic. And so I'm going to wait to give it a rating when I reread it. I'm gonna reread it. I'm gonna commit to rereading it. I'm sorry, Jay. It
might take a while.
I'm gonna commit to rereading it, and then I will give it, I feel, what will likely be a more authentic rating. So, Crystal says it was a 4.5 for her, and she has to reread a book before she gives it a 5, and that's just a weird thing for her. She says, I'm stoked to reread the next, maybe a 7, just because I'm more excited about Dark Dawn. We haven't read God's Grave yet, so for God's Grave, I would say I'm at a 7, and then for this, I'm like a 6 right now. So
she has to reread this before that'll
I feel
go
like
up again.
Likely, as soon as I'm done rereading it, I'm going to be bothering both of you, being like, "Oh my God!"
I'm going to predict that you're not going to reread this until he announces when the next one's going to come out.
Okay, that's your prediction. We're making predictions about when I'm going to read it. Okay.
Well, if we do another one of his, we should probably do one of the trilogies that he's completed, which I guess would be the Lotus War.
Okay.
I'd be down. I think that's like his first, so that might have an interesting mix as he's developing himself as a writer.
Right.
Yes.
But Crystal, have you read the Lotus War? Do you like it just as much as all the other books, or is your favorite just Nevernight? Nevernight was an interesting one for me, though, because in the beginning I was like, ugh.
I told you why. I mean, we go through this every time. You're all like, oh, the beginning was so long. It's because you just don't do world building. You zone out.
Yeah.
And then that's the reason why half the time you're all like, wait, what is this? And I'm sticking like this piece goes here, this piece goes here for you later because.
It's frustrating because John listens while he's playing a video, like he's playing mobile games on his phone, and I'm just like trying to straight listen, and he picks up so much more than I do.
Let me just right now, I'm telling you, it's because you're reading crap on the internet while you're listening, because you cannot read and listen at the same time.
Busted.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Even if you're like trying to focus and see a picture, even if you're looking at a picture of a cat,
I try to surf Instagram, so I have
then you are like it. I'm playing a mindless game, like either a match 3 or a freaking like something where I can listen and my brain is actually on that book, but my hands are still like doing something stupid.
Well, we're probably gonna always have to have 2 copies of a book then, because I need to I have to be reading it while I'm listening. I do enjoy the experience of doing both, but unless it's like fantastic, like right now we're listening to The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy. It's so good.
Oh yeah.
It's so good. Like I love it. We're like halfway through it, but I'm just
so is it more of the same? Oh, for those who don't know, we read the first book in that set.
Yeah, right. We read The Gentleman's Guide, and I feel like it's just as good, maybe more. And it takes, it's all about Felicity and her journey and what she's doing, but it's been really good.
And I answered your question.
She said not yet, so she hasn't read Lotus Wars yet. Honestly, I'm most attached to Nevernight, but Gemina is probably my favorite of all his works, solo co-op. And there's nods to Gemina in either Nevernight or Godsgrave. It's probably Godsgrave. I don't remember.
There is a guy. I think I actually recall him replying to somebody about that on Twitter, and I was like, spoilers, crap. So.
In Godsgrave?
We haven't read Godsgrave,
right?
Yet, but I think so.
Okay.
I can't be completely certain, but he definitely had a reference to that series in Gemina.
It's the one about revenge and patience. So, I don't know. I don't remember catching that. But I did order Godsgrave not that long ago, and we just have to commit to listening to it.
I know.
So we have another book to
probably do that soon.
I'm waiting on specific books, and she's piling books on top of these, going, we got to read this first, we got to read this first, we got to read this
anymore.
First.
I thought we talked about this.
I'm ready. I'm ready for my 2 books.
I think you have to get a new one, though, based on our November. Oh.
Yeah, part of my series, the first thing is going to be literally counting up all my books to see what that devastating number is going to be. And
You're not going to like it.
John's not going to like it. And then I'm going to make another video where I establish the rules for 2019. So I'm working on those.
Yes.
But it sounds like you both really, really enjoyed it, which I'm happy about, even if I didn't fully get it at the same level that you did. I am eager to reread it. I do still like Jay Kristoff and his awesomeness.
And for my thing, I'm glad I'm part of the group because I would never pick them up. I can tell you that right now. So
that makes me.
You say that about all. Actually, we're trading a lot of good books here, and I like it. I like it a lot.
Well, I sent you Illuminae. I really feel like.
Yes, I know. I have it.
Yeah,
I have it.
Yeah. It's awesome. I love that series. I love the humor in that series. So next month we are reading Mort by Terry Pratchett.
Yes.
I don't know anything about it, but it's Discworld number 4. I was surprised. Do they not relate to each other?
Okay, here's the explanation for that. When you were saying about how what was the one? The Lotus Wars was Kristoff's first book, and you want to see how he started writing and such. The first two novels are The Color of Magic and Life Fantastic, and they basically the second one goes right after the other, so you really should read the two of them. And it's okay, but it's not as good as his other novels. So that's why I didn't pick that out. And then the third one is Equal Rights, which is about Esmeralda who wants to become a wizard. And I didn't pick that one because I really, really like death, and we did Good Omens, and you can see where death in that book came from.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you've read this one.
This is the first book featuring death. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, because I know you had told me that you suggested two that you hadn't read, and one that
I read this one, and I read Hitchhiker's Guide to Galaxy. I did not read Christopher Moore. And incidentally, the plan for that was it's like humorous, sci-fi, fantasy, and horror.
Okay.
You can figure out which one's which.
Yeah.
I've seen the movie, The Hitchhiker's Guide. And I started reading the book many years ago, but I never actually got very deep into it. Like, literally, it was just, I don't even think I made it through a chapter.
Ah, well.
So.
I mean, I have the whole thing.
I know you do.
Yes.
I have not read it, but I have the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe one day.
That's a phone book.
It is like a phone book. Yeah.
I think there's like some 30 Discworld novels, and so, it's not like you said, some of them will have like characters that make cameos in other books, but usually it's like, they'll involve certain characters, like Granny Weatherwax is one of them, Death is another, Rincewind's another, so they are really separate. So yes, it may be book 4, but you're really not missing much.
Okay.
So.
All right, that's good to know. I have to start thinking about what I'm picking for December.
December.
Yeah, December.
Oh, that's not my month?
No. You get January.
That's my birthday month, so that's the reason why I was hoping it would
Monday.
Cool.
Well, this one's my birthday month, so.
Yeah, I know. That's the reason why I was like, ooh.
I mean, I might be willing to trade with you.
It's not that big a deal, to be honest.
Yeah, but whoever doesn't do December will do the first book of the year, so that's pretty important.
So maybe you should pick that one so that you pick from your pile.
Hint.
So that we don't have to purchase any more books.
Yeah, that was going to be like part of one of my rules. Like, I will not purchase any other books, but I'm in 2 book clubs. I will search the library first. I will see if I can buy it secondhand, but if I have to buy it for a book club, then it is what it is.
Maybe we can borrow it.
Maybe. I'm going to be suggesting books that I own.
Right.
So that we can get through them.
Yeah, get through them.
I guess I'll try to do that too, maybe.
Just requires a little bit of research on your end.
Yeah. Going through the list.
I can make suggestions.
I'm sure you can.
So I want to give a big thanks to Skeptical Bookworm for joining us and sticking with us through the whole live thing and asking questions and filling in holes in my memory. Mm-hmm. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for engaging.
So you guys can join the Libri Labra Book Club on Goodreads. There is a link in the video description. There's also a bunch of links to all the different places on social media that you can find me. If you want to join us on screen, you can do that by becoming a book club VIP member on patreon.com/Libri Labra. And you get a few other perks that include a custom bookmark and being able to select books in a rotation that our community then votes on.
And joining us on screen in the chat.
Join us on screen.
That's fun. Do it.
And so, yeah, all those links are in the description. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us. And bye. See you next time.
Bye.